And we are back on Capitol Tonight. There has been an increase in bed bug infestations in Erie County buildings. The Rath Building, for example, has been dealing with an infestation since December 2016. And while the building has been treated, the problem continues. County Comptroller Stefan Mychajliw set up a whistleblower process so that employees would feel more comfortable anonymously reporting infestations at their jobs. Bed bugs spread many ways, and allowing an infestation to go on untreated is one of them. The Comptroller is joining me now from Buffalo with more details on a recently released report on this problem. Comptroller, thank you so much for being with me.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
On a rather unfortunate topic, this report came out. It's actually rather harrowing and terrifying because bed bugs are insidious little critters, and they're very hard to get rid of, which is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, they certainly are. Even when I go in public the past few days, people kind of give me a look and they say, hey, are you carrying any bed bugs to my house? Are you bringing any to my office?
Nice.
So I have to sheepishly say no. But for a lot of our union employees, it's a really serious issue for them. I mean, quite frankly, a lot of our union employees, they work incredibly hard on behalf of taxpayers, and some of their salaries are on the lower end of the salary scale. And my heart goes out to them because a lot of folks have shelled out a lot of money, a few $1,000s, to actually pay for an exterminator to go to their home and eliminate their home of bed bugs because they believe they brought home a creepy critter from the Rath Building, our public building downtown, to their home. And so that's why I wanted to release this report about solving the problem and making sure that members of the public that come to the Rath Building and our employees are protected, and they don't have to pay a lot of money out of their own pockets for infestation within their own home, let alone the workspace.
So you are taking a little bit of heat from some of your fellow elected officials, including the county executive, who is basically saying that you're misusing this whistleblower hotline, that you're creating an hysteria about bed bugs, though there was an outside entity that said that rates bed bug problems across the nation, and apparently Buffalo has moved up 2 slots to number 18, so it's not, coming from nowhere.
Yeah, it is a very serious problem, and if you look at our report, a lot of the complaints come from employees, our union employees, and I wanted to be their voice. Now, look, we have a lot of problems within the walls of government, and now bed bugs is one of them, quite frankly, so we can't stick our head in the sand. We need to be proactive. Other communities across the country have gone to great lengths to eliminate their buildings of bed bugs. We found in the state of Maryland, their state controller's office, they spotted bed bugs. They sprayed twice. It didn't solve the problem until they shut down the entire building and sent home their employees with full pay. And so I believe we should do the same. Once and for all, get rid of it. It's our understanding the county of Erie has only spent about $3,000 to $4,000 getting rid of bed bugs.
How much would it cost to do what you just said, to shut down the building for a few days? And also, isn't that kind of a slippery slope? Because then other people in other buildings are like, well, what about us? We might have the problem too, even though you haven't seen any here. Like, why don't we all get the same treatment? And how about a couple days off? And I mean, how much is that going to cost?
Well, they found bed bugs in my office, and I sent my employees home to work off-site with pay for that day to make sure that we got rid of the problem.
Well, did you?
Could it be costly? Quite possibly, yeah. They went home and worked off-site as they could through their union contract, and I sent them home because I feel as though our union employees should not work in an unsafe, disgusting, bed bug infested environment. That's just wrong. We actually had, because of our bed bug hotline, we had a national exterminator call the office and say they would come in and do an assessment of the entire building for free at no cost to taxpayers. My issue is that what's going on right now is not working. Again, the average home could be about $2,000 to have an exterminator come in and rid your house of bed bugs. Now, we have a total of 18 floors. 10 of the 18 floors within the Rath Building has been sprayed for bed bugs. In the county of Erie, you spend about $3,000 to $4,000. So if you're spending $2,000 to get rid of bed bugs in your home, I don't think this is enough. We also have members of the public come to the Rath Building for numerous issues. So I'm very concerned about the health and safety not only of our union employees, but also a lot of the people that come to the county of Erie for business within the Rath Building.
So the county executive says there is a protocol and he wants people to feel safe. And they are addressing the problem, and if you see a bed bug, they come and spray, etc. Now, some of the anecdotal evidence cited in your report that comes from anonymous employees is questioning and casting aspersions on said protocol. And you say, don't take my word for it, listen to the employees in the report. But, what if they have an axe to grind? I mean, they're anonymous. This is the danger of anonymous tip lines, right?
Yeah, of course, as always. And there were some emails and information that we did not put in the report because we did not find it credible. We put in credible employees who we thought the information was credible and put that in the report. But again, that's why I said before, don't take my word for it. Don't take the administration's word for it. We heard directly from employees who are really scared about the health issues, about those types of hazards, but more the financial, that they'd have to spray their own home because of it. 10 of the 18 floors in our building have been sprayed for bed bugs or some other insect. Now, I would challenge you or anyone in the private sector to answer this question. If they found bed bugs in your workspace near your cubicle, would you want to stay?
No.
Absolutely not. I have a pregnant wife at home. I have an 11-year-old daughter. I do not want to come home with a bed bug from work. So I think it's reasonable to say, look, and there's no shame in admitting there's a problem. Just admit there's a problem. Let's fix it. I offered solutions, and let's get it behind us.
Have you had a face-to-face conversation with the county executive about this?
No. My client is the Erie County Legislature, and actually, about 4 months ago, when they found bed bugs in my office, I reached out to the head of buildings and grounds within the county of Erie, and there's a very extensive study. My cousin is a nurse, and she sent me, University of Washington did a very lengthy report on how governments can eliminate bed bugs through a community-based collaborative approach. And I did share that with the polling cars administration a few months ago. I got no response, and so we figured, okay, we need to take it to the next step, and let's issue a report.
So do you think that also should be part of this protocol? I mean, I saw your recommendations, one of which is, hey, let's take this exterminator up on the offer for a free assessment. But there needs to be more of an education campaign so that people are not bringing the problem to their workspace. I mean, that seems to be the issue. And could there be financial assistance provided for people who perhaps can't afford extermination at home?
Absolutely. That's a great point. There needs to be a community-based approach, but also communication within our own building to our own employees about that very issue. In the report, it's very unfortunate, but in one instance, it is believed that a county employee did bring bed bugs or insects into the building. So this is an issue and a problem that goes way past our public building. It's in the community, like it or not. And so that's why I recommended, I wanted to offer positive recommendations instead of just saying, okay, here's a problem. Well, yeah, I can identify a problem, especially through county employees, but I wanted to offer solutions. And I think communication for the entire community is really important. So it doesn't get to the point where the county taxpayer is shelling out money to exterminate the homes of our employees and people that visit us.
So that the employee that you mentioned, that employee was actually banned from the Rath Building for inadvertently bringing bed bugs to work until he or she could provide medical proof that he or she was bed bug free. Has that occurred as of yet? And you're not getting any union blowback from that? I mean, there's actually a stand. No. You're legally allowed to do that, ban a person from their workplace?
Well, the administration made sure, not my office, the administration made sure that this individual would come back with a note from a physician and their landlord saying, yeah, that they took the proper steps to be able to come back. I think it's a very proper step. The administration did do its job, and they did a great job in that respect about being proactive and trying to keep bed bugs out of the office. But yes, unfortunately, we did determine that it was an employee in that one instance, and they were sent home immediately. And their office belongings were basically thrown outside.
And how do you counter this potential hysteria issue? Because I'm not saying that this isn't a viable problem that needs to be addressed, but there is a sort of circular nature here when people get all spun up about bed bugs, and then they're like, oh my God, bed bugs, and it turns out to be dust or beetles or, I don't know, spiders or whatever it might be, but not bed bugs. And then you waste valuable time running around being like, bed bugs, and chasing them when you could be just doing something else.
It's a legitimate question. It really is. Within our office, I can explain to you what happened in our office. One of our office workers actually saw it crawling, and they did exactly as they were instructed to do. Take a piece of tape, capture it in that fashion. And one really disturbing story, we actually had a law firm call my office, and I'm going to keep it clean, but I've never heard more F-bombs in one conversation in my entire life. But it was a lawyer. It was a local lawyer who received one of our checks, and he actually opened the envelope, and there was a bug in the envelope. So it's a problem. Oh yes. I mean, this attorney was not very happy, and so we actually had to send staff to this person's office and retrieve the envelope and the bug.
Wow.
So the problem's there, and that's okay. That's okay to say, yeah, we have a problem that everybody in the community deals with, but we can't stick our head in the sand. We just have to fix it for the benefit of our employees and the public.
Okay, well, Comptroller Mychajliw, good luck, and we'll check back with you to see how your bug combating is going. Thank you for spending time with us.
Sounds good.
We have to take